to tell is a little scary. So if you get a little tense steering it, just remember we can get through this together. Years ago, I lived in Los Angeles, and I used to visit this place called the North Hollywood Park, and it was a huge, like 100-acre park with a big open area, and there were trees around it, and picnic tables and things. It was a great place to go, just play badminton or whatever you did, and have picnics. Well, I took my family, and I used to take them out. I have two boys and my wife. We used to go out there and have picnics and things, and we brought the Frisbee and throw it around. Well, this one Saturday, I went there with my family, and there were about 100 people in the park. And we were playing Frisbee, and there was people all over, and then somebody said, "Hey, there's a noise." And it was like a buzzy kind of noise, or I can't describe it. And we were looking around, oh, who making that noise? And then somebody said, "Look, there's a flying saucer. It's coming into North Hollywood Park." And it was huge. We saw this thing coming in, and we got all the way back to, because we didn't want to get mashed. This thing was bigger than a 747. It was coming in like this. It had something wrong with the struts, because it was doing like this, and it boom, landed, and it was big, and we were just looking. We were all surrounding it, and wondering what's going to be coming out of that. And then the ramp opened. It went, and it needed WD-40, and we were wondering what's coming out of that. And I swear to you, there were these giants coming out. One was about 100 feet tall. One was about 80 feet, and two were like 60 or 70 feet. And they were coming down this ramp. And they looked, well, they had big heads like this with eyes like here. And they had 6 or 7 legs or arms. I don't know what they were. And they were coming down this ramp. And you know what they looked like? They looked like ants, like giant ants. These monsters were coming down, and they were carrying things. One had a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they had Pepsi-Colas, and they had a cake, and they had and they had all the fixings with the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And one had a big red and white tablecloth, and they were coming down. And I realized those monsters were coming to have a picnic at North Hollywood Park. I was aghast. And I came down, and they took that tablecloth, and they were whoop, and when it's about an acre big, they laid it down. And they laid all that food out, and they sat down and started eating it. Well, I'm looking at this food, and you know, I like Kentucky Fried Chicken, especially the original recipe. And I decided, since I'm so little, they're not going to see me. So I went right up on that tablecloth, and I walked across it, and I got to the basket where the chicken was. I climbed up that thing, and I went into the chicken, and I got right to the tip top of one of the legs sticking out. And I looked back, and you're going to be surprised when you find out that everybody in the park had exactly the same idea, and they were lined up exactly behind me. It was amazing. I was the leader. Well, I grabbed me some chicken, and they were all over the place. They were getting in the cake, and they were getting in the mashed potatoes, and these monsters apparently didn't like it. They actually did see us, and they were trying to brush us off, and we were not going to be denied. They were doing, and we were fighting back. We were telling, "No, I ain't doing it." And finally, the big one got up, and he walked back into the ship, and he came out with a spray gun, doing like this. And I was the only one that didn't get wet, because I was hiding behind a wing. But it didn't seem to bother anybody. And so we just kept on going. finally, these monsters were so furious, they decided to quit. They started brushing people off, getting people off their food. They put everything together, and they packed everything up, and they stood up, and they took that tablecloth, and they went, boom, and we went flying. It was lucky nobody was hurt. So they started, and they harumphed back into their ship. We were watching them, just holding our food. And they went in, and then that ramp went, it needed WD-40. And I heard them put the key in the ignition, and it went, I said, please, let it start. And it went, and it really ran rough. You know, I'd like to take a look at that engine. And so it was, and we were just, and it rose and rose and rose. And it was gone. And we let out a cheer. We had driven the spacemen away. We know their secret. Eat their food. They hate it. So the funny part about this whole thing is that I seem to be the only one that remembers it. Isn't that funny? And I think that with that, you know, that juice, that was forgetful juice. And I was the only one that didn't get wet. Even my kid. Whoa, he came over, Daddy, you were sleeping, you were dreaming, and there was ants all over you. No, that makes me sound stupid. No, that's not what happened. So now, I go around telling everybody this story because it's important, I think. Because the next time those spacemen come from wherever they come from, it might not be a picnic.
I think you just had some good acid.